Hey, I'm Miko, and this is Stella Saves the World, a very, very special painting that I wanted to share a very brief synopsis of her story with you. Stella is about to go to her rescue mama, and this is a really special, a special painting because of the journey that Stella and I have been on. I was commissioned by a high school friend who reached out to me in 2024 because Stella had just passed. And my friend wanted to make a gift for a very dear friend of hers. And this was, I want to say, July or August of 2024. And I was honored, as I'm always honored whenever I receive a commission to do any kind of artwork. You know, because artwork is my passion, my life. I do a lot of other side jobs, some professional, driving, delivery, transport, people, property, field investigation, all sorts of things. Some handyman work. But artwork, being creative is my life joy. So my friend reaches out to me in July or August of 2024, and I was just in the middle of another commission, a really huge commission that someone in Florida had ordered. And so I was in a southern state, but 5 states away from Florida. And I had to finish that painting. It was an 8 foot long painting. It was a huge painting. I had to build a custom roof rack for my car and everything to deliver it. It would have been like $5,000 to deliver the painting if I had shipped it. So I figured I would just drive because I'd always wanted to see Coral Castle. So Coral Castle was on my plan after I delivered the painting. And so I had a lot of things I wanted to do in Florida anyway for probably 20 years. And so I let my friend know, what my art itinerary was. But I had started, anytime I receive a commission, I always do preliminary sketches. And I was really captivated by Stella and my friend who reached out to me, their story of their friend, and how special it was. Like whenever there's a special connection with art like that, it makes the artwork even more meaningful. And I have to finish the painting, so I finished the painting sometime close to October. It was like early October 2024 that I finally have the painting ready to go. Like I said, I had to build a custom roof rack. I drive into Florida, and I'm not from hurricane country, so I don't really know much about tornadoes. I don't know much about hurricanes, and I just figure because there's a big storm coming in, I have no idea that I'm driving right into Hurricane Milton. So that completely scrambles my plans because I had to deliver it on the inland side of right where I had to deliver it was pretty much the bullseye of Hurricane Milton. And so I have to go to the coastal side, the outward side of Florida, and stay there while Hurricane Milton hits, and kind of safeguard the large painting. And while this is all happening, I get burglarized by my landlord, and that's a whole other story, who I had been renting from for about 2.5 years and also working for. So he and a old friend of his both burglarized my house, and I don't really know how long it had been going on for, but that I won't even know that really until I get back to my home state. And I lost everything in the burglary. the burglary was completely devastating, upended my life. And it was now in the middle of winter, so I'll return from Florida after delivering this large painting. I have no idea what's waiting for me back at home. And I will get back, and I bring the police in. So the landlord reported a burglary, and which I will then realize, I will find out, and there's evidence and all that he did it, and with the lady friend of his. And in that burglary, like, all of my art equipment will be stolen. My business records will be stolen. My computers, I have like 2 other cell phones. And then my iCloud account will be hacked. There's all sorts of stuff in that story, but this is all about Stella. We're getting to Stella because Stella was safely packed away in the garage, and because, like, you know, whenever I leave, I'm one of those people that likes to, like, wash the dishes and clean the house and get everything, you know, organized before I go on any kind of trip. And but they never found Stella. So Stella was started. She's on a panel. So this panel, she was preliminary drawn, like her imprimatura, as they say in old Italy. Her very, very first impressions were laid down on the panel. And she was wrapped. So I always wrap my artwork when I store my paintings, you know, wrapped in fabric and taped. I also do moving jobs. I've been shipping my artwork for over 20 years. So she was packed in the garage underneath the workbench. And she was one of the few paintings, one of the few pieces of my artwork that survived the whole thing. So in that whole episode, in my home state, I lost pretty much everything except some minor, like, Craigslistable, like, items I had in a small storage unit. So I immediately was home. So I get back with the police. The landlord evicts me, like, the day that I bring the police. Basically, the day that I get back from Florida, I bring the police in, and within 12 hours, he's evicting me. So now I'm homeless, and I'm having to go and buy a trailer so I can go and, like, I can get, like, any remnants, anything that wasn't pilfered or stolen off the property. You know, I don't know if you've ever been in that situation where you have to actually, like, throw your life, like, you have to just get your life up off the floor, basically. And I'm putting my stuff into my storage unit, and a friend of mine from another state, it's around Thanksgiving. It's kind of coming up to Thanksgiving, so I get back, like, November. The burglary was November 6th, like, yeah. So I get back somewhere between November 6th and November 12th, something like that, in early, like, mid-November, coming up on Thanksgiving. I'm at my storage unit, and I'm packing Stella and everything in the storage unit. And a friend of mine from another state, I have no idea what I'm going to do. A friend of mine calls me just about Thanksgiving. Is like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing? What's up?" And I go, "Well, I'm homeless. Looks like I'm going to be having to take my landlord to court, and I'm putting the rest of my life into storage, and I have no idea what I'm doing for Thanksgiving." and my friend goes, "What?" You know, they're blown away, and they go, like, "Well, get your ass over here." They live in an adjacent state, but it's a poor state. A really poor state. And so I go and have Thanksgiving with them, and they hear what I've been going through, and they're like, "Why didn't you come and just bring your stuff here, put it in the shed, and so because if you're paying storage." Like, I was in a devastating situation, and the person who caused all this had owed me, like, 3 years of back rent, back pay, like, a lot of different things. So I was really low on finances. Now I was going to start, like, living off credit, which was crazy. And so I'm like, okay, so I drive back, get my stuff out of storage, get Stella, bring a trailer full of my stuff that I could sell on Craigslist, and just try to like stay afloat, while I'm figuring out what to do. Now winter's coming, winter's starting to hit hard, and so now it begins basically. So 2024 is ending. I'm homeless. I'm living in a totally different state. I'm having to stay above water, figure out odd jobs, what to do. All my art supplies are gone. My computers are gone. And where my friend lives is in like the boonies. No cell signal, basically an Amish country. Like no Wi-Fi. It's basically on a homestead, which I had never lived on before. And so every moment that I had just to my, that I could put, just kind of have some contemplative time, I would pull Stella out of her wrapping and I would work on her a little bit with basically whatever art supply, because I always carry art supplies on me. It's kind of like my field kit. And so I'd always work on Stella a little bit at a time. Maybe 30 minutes 1 week, maybe an hour 2 weeks later, little by little by little. And I always have my my power tools on me. And I was, buy new power tools for other odd jobs, sanders and scrapers and things like that, because in all this moving I was doing with trailers and driving, I just to get out of that situation that I described, I probably drove like 3,000 miles, like back and forth, and then like taking care of business in the home state while I'm moving to this other state to kind of seek refuge and put my life back together. And all the while, like Stella got a little dinged up a little bit, like while I was working on her. But mid-year, I landed so mid 2025, I started to land jobs in this poor state that were more remote work site jobs where, I might, because I always work for high trust. I always give the benefit of the doubt, but I always aim to work for high trust individuals. And little by little, I would start to get situations where someone would be like, well, there's a room here, you can stay for 2 weeks while you're doing this work, which would be great, because then I could actually, make a little workspace and work on Stella more and more. So little by little, I started to actually be able to get more done on Stella while I was at different work sites and job sites. Everything from like home repair, demo jobs, driving the Amish around. Believe it or not, the Amish actually are very much connected to our economic system. So they have surprisingly more income than probably most of us walking around. But I finally got Stella done close to getting done, because paintings take a while. Oh, and another critical thing is so my iCloud was hacked, my contacts were deleted, I got blocked out of my Facebook because of tomfoolery that the burglars were doing to my digital life, because I had passwords on my laptops, and because they had access to my because I use an iPhone, my actual accounts. I just lost everything. So I just basically I was cut offline for like a year. And I finally I found a hard drive. I found one of my hard drives with like years of backup, of iPhone backups, but I had lost the original because of the iCloud hacking and my contacts being deleted off my phone. I lost contact with my friend who reached out to me and commissioned Stella, and that happened early in 2025. So basically I was like, the only artwork that I had to do, like that I was connected to doing, was Stella. And I really bonded with Stella. Like, it was really amazing. It's made me appreciate the magic of artwork in our life, the archetypical, the Jungian symbology of artwork. And then with all the political craziness, Hurricane Milton happening, I started to examine like my life. Like I started to realize we rarely actually look at our life from a meaning trajectory. Like, what's the meaning of our life? Why are we in a situation that we're in? Not as punishment or reward, but in relationally. Like, what's our relation with life as we're living it? And what's life's relation with us as it's living with us, while it's living us in a sense. And in winter, because I was finally at one particular job site where I was just completely I was on my own, for like many, like 2.5 months or so. It was cold, and it was like a small, like, trailer situation. That was like where I got to live, in this very, very small trailer. And I was basically only working on Stella. I was really thinking about Stella suddenly. I was like, this little doggie, even though she's passed physically, has been the one creature, the one soul, dare we say, right, that has kept me going. And I don't want to say given a purpose, because I think that word is overused, but given a very clear focus of meaning. And I was thinking about Stella so much, and still not in contact. I knew, because I all my stuff was all scattered about in different, like, so now I had different boxes at probably 4 or 5 different friends in this new state that I was in. And so, like, I knew that there was some hard drive. I was like, I know I had that hard drive in storage that had backups of a certain iPhone from 2017, or all sorts of things were going through my mind. But when you're doing other things in life, you can't always lock in where something is that you think you have. And so I'm completely out of contact with everyone from my past, and I'm thinking about my friend, and I'm thinking about Stella's rescue mama, and the person who she's ultimately going to this painting, and I couldn't help but start to think about. I started to realize, wow, this is what faith actually is. And it's a horrible experience. Like winter was harsh and brutal, and I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. And but at that moment, I started to get these moments of like, this is actually what faith actually feels like. It's not a religious term at all. It's a very brutal, beautiful, tractionable, palpable, meaningful word, and Stella was part of that, and so it was like when the turn of the year happened, I didn't know what I was going to title Stella's portrait, and I felt so good at the turn of the year. Like, I felt like I've survived, and I'm working, and I'm not making tons of money, but off these odd jobs, but I wasn't broken, and I realized, wow, Stella, like, working on Stella and having a piece of artwork to actually work on has saved my world, saved my life. And that's when I was like, Stella saves the world, because Stella has literally saved my world. And then I started to really appreciate what animals do for us, how animals really save our world. And so time would progress. I had other business to do, so I did a lot. I was still doing different traveling back to that home state and other states, and it would be. So I finally located the hard drive, but whenever you do hard drive type of stuff, it takes time, and so I finally I bought a replacement laptop. And so, but you have to sit with the hard drive and like dig through material, and it takes hours. It can take like 30 hours of like digging through files, running searches, and all sorts of stuff, because I have like over 20 years of data on that I've done as an artist, as an auditor, auditing job sites, auditing any kind of work, all sorts of files, and I'm having to try to find where are my phone backups and which phone backup has my friend's contact information on it. And I'm having to, and then, I have to close down and go run to another job. And so I might have like 20 minutes one day and have to wait another week to open up my laptop, pull out my external hard drive, set it up at a Starbucks or at a McDonald's or some place, and it would be Easter of this year of 2026 that I found the backup with my friend's number on it. And I reached out, and they were on a flight at the time, but they contacted me the next day, and I got all of Stella's mama's information. I got the address to mail her to, and so I'm just overjoyed. It's a completion that I wanted to share with you, because I feel that these are the things that are here to celebrate in life, where there's an arc, and there's a beginning and an ending, but there's never really an ending. There's always, if I can see something end, then I'm alive. I'm here. It has not ended. Something is now real. There's a new emergence. There's something new occurring, and so there's so many things that now I'm like, yeah, Stella is teaching me, because I now realize that artwork is not just this flat surface, this flat thing we put on a wall. Stella is a real creature. There's really Stella here. Anytime that now I feel like anytime I focus on a work of art, we're really connecting to the soul, to the souls that are embodied in what we're meditating on. And so, yeah, that's it. I mainly just wanted to make this little sit down share about the mystery of Stella and the mystery of life, the mystery of love, the mystery of journey, the alchemical nature. And I wanted to come. This is one of my favorite little watering holes that I'll come and just meditate at and spend time. You can hear the river kind of bubbling and flowing in the background. And I felt like this would be a really cool place to sit and share the story of Stella with you. Let me show you. I'll go ahead and give you a more up close. My favorite part is her name tag, Stella. The sun's going down, but hopefully you can see. I really like the gloss. I love her eyes and her ears and her nose and her little paws. But yeah, I can't tell you how happy I am. And also hearing my friend's voice on the phone, and just this exuberant flood of emotion on both of our sides to finally reconnect and to feel all of the worry just like opening up a pot of like a steam pot, just opening up and just cooling off instantly, like all this culmination of worry and anxieties and you know you know wondering of like how, they wondered if I was dead. They wondered what had happened to me, because they saw that my social media accounts weren't I wasn't active anywhere, and all this was just culminating on the day after Easter when we finally reconnected. And then I got to hear the story of their friend who Stella is going to, Stella's rescue mama, and it's just been the best. It's just been the best. And another part of this is probably about the light. Like there's songs about that. Like the crack is where the light comes in. It's so true. And especially in these crazy times, like creativity and art is so important, and relations are so important, and animals are so important, and the meaning and the love that they bring and that we are giving to them is so important and beyond words. And so if anything, that's what I want to convey here is that if you're working on something, whether you're an artist or not, that your life is meaningful. Our animals' lives are meaningful. We're meaningful. Our relations with each other are meaningful. And our stories are meaningful. And what I can't wait to do is ask when I hope to get to meet, even if it's just by phone, Stella's rescue mama. And the thing I'm really curious about is Stella's story. Yeah. And if I get to receive Stella's story, I will, and I'm going to ask permission if I can share it with you. But I can't wait. If I get permission to share Stella's story with you, I will most definitely share that story with you, because now it's like our stories, our stories are what it's all about. And I feel so blessed that I was given any talent at all to make artwork with, and I feel so lucky to have creative people such as yourself in my life, and to be surrounded by a beautiful world. No matter what craziness people try to make in it, this world really is a beautiful world. And from the heights of my heart and all the love, I'm so happy that you are in this world with me.